The Academy Awards is the main event that causes the film industry to give recognition and praise for all aspects of the industry regarding a specific year. Since I discuss animation, I will obviously focus on the Best Animated Feature category. The first award for Best Animated Feature was in 2001, where Shrek won. The purpose of this specific video is to dissect what would have happened if the category existed before the year 2001. In order to accurately speculate, I am basing some of the results from the Annie Awards, since it had the Best Animated Feature category since 1992. I will obviously go through a more thorough research on each individual film to determine whether one should be nominated or not. 2000 was a year that was not strong regarding animation, and there are not many that made a lot of money. Chicken Run is one of the highest grossing animated films of 2000, and it was critically praised. There is a good chance that this film is the reason why the Best Animated Feature category exists for the Oscars in the first place. While The Emperor's New Groove was a weak performer in the box office during 2000, most of the other films did worse. It had the Disney label, and it was well liked amongst critics and audiences, so I think it would have been nominated for sure. The third inductee is very confusing, and I can see a few options. There are films like Taina E that has no chance, so it leads to Dinosaur. Its reputation now is forgettable at best and horrible at worst, but at the time, Dinosaur was the highest grossing animated film of the year, and it was solely due to its CGI effects, which people were still fascinated by, as CGI was still seen as foreign. The Road to El Dorado is the only film that I think would have had a slight chance. While it did financially flop and received mixed reviews, it is associated with DreamWorks when they are taken seriously, and it was nominated for the Annies. I think this would have had a better chance than Tiny E, because the latter has a reputation for closing down an entire studio. Two are from Disney, and the other two are from DreamWorks. And I think they would have chosen Dinosaur. I think they would have nominated Dinosaur, Chicken Run, and The Emperor's New Groove. The Academy Awards like artsy films, and they also like stop motion films. Despite that, most people did not like Dinosaur upon watching the film, and I don't see them giving Emperor's New Groove the win. Chicken Run won the Annies, and people raved over it, which caused a push to get it nominated for Best Picture. 1999 was a year when most companies suffered but Pixar and Disney. Toy Story 2 would have been nominated for sure. It was another Pixar film that received universal acclaim, and it is the highest grossing animated film of 1999. People were still captivated by this new format of CGI, so it was guaranteed a spot. Or it would have been. Tarzan is another film that would have been a guaranteed nominee. It was well received, the second highest grossing animated film of the year, and the Disney label was still huge, as he still had the yearly event mentality, according to the general audience. Other than those two films, 1999 was not a strong year for animated films, so if I was to go by critical reception, The Iron Giant would have been the third nominee. It was not a financial success, but as we have seen in the actual category for other awards, that does not have stopped a film from being nominated. Fantasia 2000 had the Disney label and is seen as one of the artsiest animated films to ever exist, so it could have been competition for that third spot. A point against it, though, is that it's a package film. Ultimately, Tarzan, The Iron Giant, and Toy Story 2 would have most likely been nominated. Looking at the accolades that each of the films received, Tarzan would not stand a chance, as most of its awards were for the songs. Both Toy Story 2 and The Iron Giant won countless awards, and both won the Annie for Best Animated Feature in its years. Ultimately, what would have tipped it over regarding the voting is that more people simply saw Toy Story 3 over The Iron Giant, so Toy Story 2 would have won. Regarding the Best Animated Feature at the Oscars, it has been cited that many of the members vote based on what they took their children to see or abstained from voting overall. 1998 is a pretty strong and competitive year in animated films, and there's no clear-cut winner. Let's discuss the mainstream films in the year. It's obvious what the Big Four films of the year was, and out of all of them, Ants had the weakest perception and made the least money, so I don't think it would be nominated. I'm going to dissect the three other films separately. The Prince of Egypt received strong critical acclaim, where people thought it was a Disney film. It is fairly well known and made a decent amount of money, so I think it would have been nominated, but I don't know about its chances of winning. A point in A Bug's Life's favor is that it's the highest grossing animated film of '98, so people saw this film more than the others. It won some awards, but it lost all the Annies because it was competing against Iron Giant. It did have the Disney label under it, and it was well received. A point against it, though, is its very public feud with DreamWorks' Ants. One benefit that Mulan has in its favor is that it dominated the Annie Awards during 1998, which is what A Bug's Life failed to do. It was the most impressive Disney film in the last few years at that point. It is the second highest grossing animated film of '98, and it has the Disney label, which still mattered a lot back in the day. I researched the reception of both films, and one side prefers A Bug's Life, but the other prefers Mulan. It goes back and forth, and I honestly do not know which film would have won between the two of them. 1997 is an extremely easy year to determine the nominations and winner. It's painfully obvious that Hercules would win. Not only was it the most watched out of all of them, but it was also the best received and the most well known. Anastasia would be a guaranteed nom as well, because it was the only other moderately successful film in 1997. It wouldn't win though, because it isn't Disney, and the whole historical inaccuracy thing will bother a lot of people. The third spot would go to, let me see, uh, Cats Don't Dance. It did win the Annies, but we're talking about the Academy Awards, and we generally know what the Academy Awards would go with, and that isn't this. Overall, this year was very weak regarding animation, and there isn't many options to choose from. 1996, once again, another weak year with not many options. There's not really much to say here. You would think Hunchback would be the clear winner in this case, but after doing some research, I don't think that's the case. There's a lot of stigma against it at the time of its release, and even still to this day, that I think might have prevented it from winning. And looking at the accolades, it didn't win a lot and was overshadowed by some other films. James and the Giant Peach won a bit more awards, so when I was looking at the critical reception, and it was pretty much equal to Hunchback, so honestly, you could just flip a coin and one of these two would win for sure. Either way, Disney's leaving with an award during the year of 1996. The final slot would go to this, just because there's simply nothing else. On to 1995. While the results for '95 are obvious, at least there's more variety and more interest going on. Toy Story would obviously take the big award. It received universal acclaim. It is an innovative film regarding animation for many reasons, and it's the highest grossing film of '95, so obviously it would win. Pocahontas did win a few awards, which did include the Annie Award for Best Animated Feature as well. But the stigma against it is strong, and it only won some of those awards because it and Toy Story were separated into two separate years. Despite that, it would obviously be a nom, but during this time, there wasn't much else aside from Disney. And a Goofy movie is a comfortable, safe, pleasant enough placeholder. The Lion King takes this award easily, and it's the biggest traditionally animated film still to this day to be released. It's the only memorable animated film of 1994, and honestly, you could just choose any two other animated films to take up the other nomination slots. What to choose, what to choose. I'm kind of lost, but eh. All the other '94 films were flops, and these two seem like the most Oscar baitish, so here. The Nightmare Before Christmas is the clear winner of 1993, as it was the biggest success critically and financially of 1993, and it was the first to receive an Oscar nomination for Best Visual Effects. The Disney label to it definitely helps, though it isn't a part of the Walt Disney Animation canon. The Batman movie was the only other animated film of '93 to receive critical and audience reception, so it probably would have been guaranteed a nom as well. The third one, I'm just gonna randomly choose one, and the one I randomly choose is Once Upon a Forest. On to 1992. I'm going to wrap this up because the more and more far back in time we go, the less and less options we have. So regarding 1992, the obvious winner would be Aladdin. Not only did it make at least 10 times more than every other animated film in 92 and received universal acclaim, it's probably the only animated feature that many people really remember. Ferngully would have been nommed because it was a critical and financial success, or at least enough of a success so it would have been humiliated regarding the box office of people just trashing it. So, yeah. And I don't really know about a third option. Once again, I struggled to find worthy noms, but Beauty and the Beast would have won the big award. It's really no question as to why it's the big award, especially since it was nominated for Best Picture during the actual Oscar.